Okay, so here's a quick video on blast gate automation detail, at least the approach that I used. So I started out with these standard aluminum blast gates. I can't remember where I bought them, but they're 10 or 15 bucks as I recall. The standard aluminum thing with the sliding metal door. I modified them so they looked like this when they were done. So it was a pretty simple modification at the end of the day. I took a 1 inch by 1 inch, looks like 1/16 inch aluminum angle. Probably bought a chunk of that down at Ace Hardware. I cut it so that it matched the radius to some degree of the dust collector port, the pipe diameter. I drilled and tapped 2 holes in this aluminum surface and used 2 very short bolts to actually bolt that to it. They don't extend past the thickness of the top plate of this blast gate. And then I used some Loctite to put those in there. I attached the cylinder then to I drilled a hole, of course, in the face of this aluminum piece and attached the cylinder to that hole. Second piece that I had to make was another piece of aluminum bar stock. I think this is 3/4 inch wide and it's about 3.5 inches long or so. I can actually measure that here if that would be helpful. So that's yeah, right at 3.5 inches long. Drilled and tapped a couple of holes in that and put some holes in the blast gate and bolted that to it. With the cylinder attached, I'm doing all this machine work by hand basically. With the cylinder attached, I then figured out where the cylinder push rod actually intersected this aluminum piece that I added, and that's where I drilled the hole, bolted that to that, and connected the pneumatic cylinder then to the blast gate itself. And so it's obviously very simple. It opens and closes with compressed air. The only other modification that I made to this gate, because I didn't have a cylinder that had a long enough stroke, when it was open, if I hadn't cut the blast gate the way that I did, some portion of it would have been closed. You can see the gate part that I cut away. I left this tab in here so that as it closes, for some reason oh yeah, because when it closes, there's still then a little bit of meat over here holding that part of the gate, and that's it. The whole system works on these pneumatic cylinders that I found on Surplus. I just did a quick search online, and I don't find this anymore. This cylinder has some numbers on it. The first one here is D-51278-8. A, and then it's got a QJ under that, and then it has another number that's printed on. It's 53E 7780, and then revision B. They have small 1032 ports to connect tubing to. Now, changes to this design, if I were doing this again, I would instead spring for a different cylinder. Spring for, that was not an intended pun. I would buy a cylinder that had a spring return in it instead of a double acting cylinder like this one. And the reason is then you can operate the blast gate with a single control valve. If there was a spring that was constantly pushing this shut, which you can buy these cylinders that way, then there's only one connection. You'd apply compressed air, it would open, and then when you turn the compressed air off and allow that line to vent, the spring would then close the gate. It would be simpler from the control side of the equation, and then you don't have to run one control line to each blast gate. I have 2 that run to each one, as you saw in that video. Can't think of any other questions. The cost obviously is pretty minimal. I spent $7 a piece for these. I think I bought, I don't remember, 8 or 10 of them when I bought them. And then the only other cost is the aluminum for the the extra little pieces that had to get made, which was pretty trivial. What, probably about $5 or $10 for some aluminum bar stock and some aluminum angle. It could be done in lots of different ways, but at the end of the day, I wanted something that was compact. I could have put the cylinder on the other side if I wanted to. It might have been a little easier than attaching it to these other screws and things, but it makes the whole gate much longer. I didn't like that idea, so I turned it around this way. And when I put them in, when I put these gates in, I just run a drill tech through the pipe and into these aluminum fittings. I've had really good luck with these gates. They leak a little bit. You can hear them whistle a little bit when the dust collector's running, but I can't imagine it's appreciable. And this design works reliably. I don't have problems with them sticking open or shut, and so works out great. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.